You need to go through something traumatic in order to have your nervous system sensitized? This is such a great question, and I'm going to spend some good amount of time answering it because there's a lot of nuances. That being said, this video is going to be a little bit longer than my normal one, so if you can be patient, I'll really explain this to you. So when people say trauma, a lot of people think that trauma is something like you're going to war or like a death in the family or some sort of traumatic experience that makes you fall into the anxiety cycle. However, if you were like me and so many people that I help overcome, it's not often a traumatic event. Sometimes it's just from them smoking some weed, or they just felt off, or they took some medication, or more importantly, they just had a panic attack. Now, when these people got their very first panic attack, they didn't know it was a panic attack, so they genuinely thought they were gonna die. And for them, that panic attack was the traumatic situation. See, it doesn't have to be a life or death situation. So a better way to define the trauma is something that felt too overwhelming, where you couldn't cope or handle that moment and that time. That doesn't mean you were in a real threat. Just having a panic attack alone can be traumatizing in itself. That being said, I'm not a big fan of using the word trauma because I think it puts people a little bit too much into the victim game where they feel like they've been traumatized and they can't get better. And that's not true. No matter what trauma you've gone through, you can still overcome this. And sometimes when you have this trauma attitude, it can lead to this victim mentality. Not saying that's always the case, but I have personally found as I help people that are too identified with being traumatized, it's hard for you to push them to recovery because they get identified with that.